So after watching all of the Christopher Nolan films that I wanted to watch, today I'm going to be ranking all 8 of his films that I have seen. So today I'm going to be ranking them all worst to best, and please note, Christopher Nolan, of the films that I've seen from him, he does not have a bad film. It's just some are better than others. This is all personal preference. This is my opinion. So make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe, as I will be doing this with Orson Welles pretty soon. So make sure y'all keep on the lookout for that, and without further ado, here's my ranking of every single Christopher Nolan movie that I have seen. Starting things off, as much as I hate to put this movie here, I do have to put it here. Batman Begins is going to go in last place. As much as I absolutely love this movie, and it started one of the greatest movie trilogies ever made, it just is my least favorite Christopher Nolan film. Having Liam Neeson's villain and then Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow was a little bit messy, and the action, in my opinion, was a little bit basic. Now, this is still a very good movie with very good acting from Christian Bale and great cinematography, but it just is not Christopher Nolan's best movie. Next up at number 7, I have a movie that I also really like. It is The Dark Knight Rises. Now, it may look like I am just hating on the Dark Knight trilogy. I am not. The Dark Knight trilogy is probably one of my favorite trilogies of all time, if not my favorite. But The Dark Knight Rises is just not the best Christopher Nolan movie. By the way, and guys, I'm just ranking Christopher Nolan movies. I'm not ranking superhero movies. Like all 3 of the Dark Knight movies are top tier, but they are bottom tier as far as Christopher Nolan movies, besides The Dark Knight, which will come later. But The Dark Knight Rises, it is good. If I feel like they use a lot of time focusing on Joseph Gordon-Levi's character and not enough of Christian Bale's character. And I get that he is the rising guy who's supposed to take over. And I feel like the ending kind of left it open for maybe even a 4th movie that was never made. But that is just fine. But, because that's just Christopher Nolan's style. He leaves us with thoughts in our mind, whether they're good or bad. This is a very good movie with great cinematography and great action. It's probably some of the best action in Christopher Nolan's filmography. And I also think that Bane's performance by Tom Hardy, or Tom Hardy's performance of Bane, is extremely good, and he did a great job playing this cold character, and there are some scenes in this movie that I really like. That's why I put it slightly above Batman Begins. At number 6, I have a movie that I also really like. All these are good movies, it's just the worst of the best. The Prestige, starring Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Scarlett Johansson, David Bowie, and Andy Serkis, and Michael Caine. What a cast. This is one of Christopher Nolan's earlier films, and it is extremely good. It's probably one of his most underrated films. You guys need to go give it a watch right now. Now, I do feel like somehow this movie is still a little bit overrated, as people are saying this may be his best film. It definitely isn't, but it is a very good movie, and it's definitely worth your watch, and I think it's better than Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. I know that that's a very hot and spicy take, but I really do think so. This is a great movie. Give it a watch, but these other 5 are just a little bit better. At number 5, Christopher Nolan's take on a war movie, Dunkirk. Now, y'all might be shocked to see Dunkirk this low, but to be honest, with how strict some of my rankings are, you're lucky it's not lower, because Christopher Nolan, all of his films are so good, and it is so hard to rank them. This was debatably harder to do than the Hitchcock one, because I feel like Christopher Nolan has quality, whereas Hitchcock has more quantity. But anyway, enough about that. This is a very good movie, and it's one of Christopher Nolan's shortest movies. It's only about an hour and 45-minute runtime, yet it feels like a 2-hour movie. It is very complete, very full. Harry Styles, Cillian Murphy, and Tom Hardy all star in this movie. and they are all very good. There's not a lot of dialogue in this movie, to be honest, and it still works. It is kind of a horrifying movie at times because it shows how dangerous war really was in Dunkirk. But this is a great movie, and I was skeptical when I watched it at first because I didn't think Christopher Nolan could pull off a war movie. But now I know Christopher Nolan can really pull off any genre if he puts his mind to it. So that is why Dunkirk is going at number 5. At number 4, what I and a lot of other people like to call a misunderstood masterpiece, Tenet. Starring John David Washington, Michael Caine, and Robert Pattinson. This is a very good movie as far as cinematography and action goes. The plot can get lost at times, and I do feel like this is his most confusing movie. But I am a big Nolan fan. If y'all didn't know, he is now my favorite movie director of all time. But this is the one that I have watched the most recently, and it is really good. If you don't, in the words of Christopher Nolan, don't try to understand it, just feel it. And also, one of the characters says this in the movie. I mean, it's just really good if you don't try to get too deep into the plot. The action is great. The acting is very solid, and I think this is a misunderstood masterpiece. I feel like people really need to go into this movie with expectations that they should enjoy it for cinematography and action and not to try and understand this very complex plot that I don't think Christopher Nolan even understands himself. Please give this movie a watch. It is very good, and don't listen to what people say. You'll see this movie at the bottom of a lot of people's list, whereas this is quite literally in the upper middle. So that is why Tenet goes at number 4. At number 3, I am about to settle one of the biggest debates in cinema history: Interstellar or Inception. And here we go. The loser of this debate, in my opinion, is Interstellar. That goes at 3. That's right. Inception, I think, is a little bit better. But enough about Inception. I just want to let you guys know that I am ending this debate. But this is just my opinion. So at number 3 is Interstellar, starring Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Michael Caine's in it. I mean, Matt Damon, Casey Affleck, just star after star. This is definitely the most star-studded cast out of all of Christopher Nolan's filmography, although Oppenheimer does have a really good cast. By the way, guys, Oppenheimer is not in this ranking because I have not seen it. Quick little disclaimer there, but enough about that. On to Interstellar. This is probably the best space movie you will ever watch. It's got that Nolan complexity along with great acting and an amazing score by Hans Zimmer, and Cornfield Chase. I mean, there's so many different variations of it, but probably one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time. I feel like this movie just has so much emotion and great visuals, great cinematography, and it blows 2001: Space Odyssey out of the water as far as best space movie of all time. I think it is a very good movie, and you guys need to check it out. It is popular for a reason. That's why it's at number 3. At number 2, one of my favorite movies of all time, Inception, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Michael Caine in this movie. A lot of other people but I won't get too into detail here. This is a very, very good movie, and Cillian Murphy also plays a side role, and he's very good in it. This is a really good movie about the subconscious mind. Leonardo DiCaprio plays this really cool, a little bit mysterious character who knows pretty much everything there is to know. And then Joseph Gordon-Levitt is also in this movie. He plays this side character that doesn't get a ton of screen time, but is still a very important character later in the movie. It is very good, and sometimes the plot can get a little bit lost and is a bit confusing, but like I said about Tenet, don't try to understand it, just feel it. It is a great movie if you just watch it for cinematography, visuals, and action. It is Christopher Nolan's best movie, and it is undebatably a top 5 movie from him, probably even top 3 for most people. So that is why Inception is at number 2. And finally, number one, y'all saw it coming, The Dark Knight, the best comic book movie of all time. I mean, what can I say about this movie that hasn't been said already by everyone else? I mean, great acting. I think the main thing here is how thrilling it is, the emotion, the acting. But I think what really takes the cake here is Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker, best Joker of all time, in my opinion. Honestly, it's not even that debatable. Like, I feel like anybody who's seen The Dark Knight has to admit that Heath Ledger is probably the best Joker out there. It is a great movie, and just, like, probably one of my favorite movies of all time, if not maybe my favorite. And it is a perfect movie. Like, you cannot put this movie down. The runtime is perfect. Came out, oh wait, and it still holds up today. It is an amazing movie, and it will never be forgotten. So, guys, that is my ranking for every Christopher Nolan movie that I've seen. As you guys can see, I've seen 8 of his 12 movies. I've not seen the other 4, and I don't plan on it. But he has gone down as probably my favorite director of all time. So make sure that you guys check out my Hitchcock ranking, and I have an Orson Welles ranking coming very, very soon. So make sure you guys check that out, and I will see you guys in the next video.